We're here at Antigua Forum with Matt Dalio. Matt, you're the founder and CEO of Endless Mobile. Can you tell us about what it is and also why you decided to start that company?
So Endless Mobile is a company that makes computers for emerging markets. This is the computer. What we realized a while ago was if you use a smartphone processor, which is also the same processor that they use in set-top boxes, the cost of the device comes down very significantly. And you can plug that into a TV or a monitor and make a computer that is a fraction of the cost of normal computers. And what we also realized is that now when you're delivering a computer to someone in an emerging market, you can use that operating system, that software, to deliver more fundamental needs such as health, education, and livelihood. And so Endless really, the name of our first product is Mission, and it is very much because first we were born in the Mission District of San Francisco, but because we are on a mission to deliver freedom and education to people at scale. And we believe that at least the best way that we can do that is through making a device that if 1 billion people want, 1 billion people will be able to afford, and hopefully we can get into the hands of a handful of those people.
And so you mentioned education. What is the educational value of having this tool?
Great question. So information is one of those fundamental premises of liberty, right? To be able to have access to information, right? To be able to have a curiosity and be able to discover what the answer to that curiosity is. So Guatemalan's whole premise is that children should be able to learn to answer their questions. And to give you an example of a student that their homework was, what is the name of our country's president in Guatemala? And they knew the last name, but they didn't know the first name. And they went and they asked their parent, and the parents knew the last name, but not the first name. And so they had no way, literally, of answering what is the name of our country's president, something so simple. And we gave them this device, and one of the first things they did was go research what the name of their country's president was. Now imagine when you have a more fundamental curiosity. Like, why do bananas turn from green to yellow? Chlorophyll, what is chlorophyll? And information is something that unblocks the potential to be able to inspire yourself, empower yourself. Say, what is the Eiffel Tower? And realize maybe one day, I want to go there. And it's funny, we've hired a number of people on our team from emerging markets who've inspired these incredible lives for themselves. A guy from Mexico, for example, who grew up in a small town, ended up moving to the US, went to travel to India, worked in India for a while, had this incredible life, and he grew up in this small town, and he attributes it all to being able to have the curiosity when he was a kid to see these places and ask himself, why can't I go there?
What has been your sort of greatest day-to-day challenges with working with Endless?
Endless has been incredibly difficult, honestly. I thought it would take a year to get to here. It's taken 4. We've thrown away our entire technology stack 3 times. Making a full desktop operating system, making a full hardware product that is mass producible, and getting that packaged and deployed to emerging markets has been challenging beyond imagination. If I had known, this is the classic statement of entrepreneurs, if I'd known how hard it would be, I never would have done it. Why? Because I never could have imagined I could have done it. And it's a little bit like climbing a mountain. You're very clear on what the top of that mountain looks like, and you are very clear that you must get there. And then you encounter a cliff in front of you. And you don't realize the cliffs will be there. You don't realize the hills and the valleys will be there. And when you get there, if you're committed enough to getting to the top of that mountain, you find your way up around it, and you get there.
You worked on this project this product at a workstation here at Antigua Forum. Can you tell us about what that process looked like and sort of what insights you gained from that?
The process was great. My biggest insight was that I wanted to use that process for Endless in the future. The process was really, it was the classic unconference, very well executed. It was 10 workstations with different people leading the different workstations, and it was anybody who wants to be at any of the workstations goes, and when they want to leave, they leave, to the point that at some point Sugata was doing his workstation. I said, this one's more interesting, I'm going to that one, and I just shut mine down. And it was great, because it had that spontaneity. And I think it was particularly valuable for bringing people of different backgrounds together. And there was this constant rotating sort of mill of insights and ideas. And so one group led us down a path of education and using teachers as a channel to deploy this. Another group went and said, it's churches, and a whole bunch of people who were interested in churches. People heard the word churches, and next thing you know, there's just more people at the station with great ideas I never would have come up with. We've been working on this for 4 years. We've been through a lot of ideas, and there were ideas in there that just whole channels that we just never would have thought of, never had thought of, and are now going to deploy our team on. So my biggest insight was how powerful the forum is, how powerful the format is.
I want to talk a little bit about another organization you founded, which is the China Care Foundation. What was the inspiration behind that, and what does it do?
China Care started really sort of as a happenstance happening. So I lived in China for a year when I was 11 years old. My parents were in the US, and I lived in China with a Chinese family. I went to an all-Chinese school. I ate lots of dumplings. I biked to school, because China back then was a very different place. And when I was 16 years old, I wanted to go back. I wanted to do something to give back, and honestly, I wanted an excuse to go back. And so I spent a summer in that orphanage and realized that for $300, you could give a child a cleft lip surgery. For $500, you could give them a much more significant cleft palate surgery. So here it is, for hundreds of dollars, you could radically change a life. And the most incredible thing about it was that not only are you making them healthy, but you're now putting them on the adoption registry so that they're eligible for adoption. So you're giving them health and family for a couple $100s. And so I went back home to the US. I basically knocked on every door I could. And I still remember that first $7,000 check. There were a couple of $100 checks and the $7,000 check. And I said, oh my God, this is real. I can do it. That is like 14 lives changed. And it just sort of evolved from there. So fast forward, we've raised over $15 million. We've now consolidated the operations into one large children's homes in Beijing and merged into another organization. But at our peak, we had 5 children's homes across China. We had 500 kids in foster placements and foster families. We've done hundreds of adoption placements. And so it was really incredible. It's just one of those things that's kind of like you don't know where you're going. All you know is, at that point, I didn't even know what the mountaintop was, to use the analogy of Endless. I know where I want to go with Endless. For there, it was just sort of a walk in the woods, and it just kept getting more and more exciting, and so I just kept walking.
You worked on other projects as well in China quite extensively. Can you tell us about your interest in China? Why you think it's an important country to focus on?
China, of course. China is an incredibly important country. The interesting thing is that 15 years ago, nobody thought it was an important country. I remember my dad having to fight my school to convince them, Matt needs to be able to take Chinese as his language when I had come back from China. And they were saying, Chinese? Why Chinese? And now they have an incredible Chinese program at this school. It is the most vibrant language program they have, and it has spread to all of the other schools in the place. Chinese, of course, Chinese. It's the language of the 21st century. And the year before the 21st century, no one thought Chinese was important. So China, of course, a country of 1.3 billion people, it is, purchasing power parity, now the largest economy in the world. And 15 years ago, it was a country that no one paid attention to. 15 years from now, imagine what it will be.
You're working also in another country, which is here in Guatemala. Can you tell us why you decided to focus on this country?
Why Guatemala? Guatemala, the honest answer, we say at Endless we say there's the strategic answer and there's the magic answer. I will give you the magic answer first. When we were originally trying to figure out where to deploy, there were 5 coincidental people saying, you're doing this thing for emerging markets, you should speak to my friend in Guatemala. And it just kept happening one after the other. We kept saying, there's something about Guatemala, and then there would be another one. There's something about Guatemala, and then another one. And so at a certain point, we just sort of said, okay, we need to go figure out what it is in Guatemala that's happening. And so we sent someone on a plane, and the moment they arrived, they said, Matt, it's so obvious what it is. Everyone here is so welcoming and so warm and so eager to change their country. And it is this small country where everything is easy. So great, we need to get to the carriers, done. We need to get to the Ministry of Education, done. We need to get to the banks, done. And everything just sort of happened. So these things are supposed to be hard. You go to a country like Brazil or China, my gosh, China, these things are hard. In Guatemala, it's been easy. It's been easy. And so what is the strategy? Now, in retrospect, I can say what the strategy is. The strategy is, it's like a petri dish. It's a very easy place to understand it and to try things. And it's been that way because people are so darn welcoming.
Can you tell us about what your future and current sort of challenges and projects are?
Over the past 4 years, we have researched, designed, and built an operating system that today almost everyone in our target market who uses it far prefers to Windows. And we today have deliberately been very quiet because historically emerging market computing endeavors have raised a lot of awareness before the product was ready. So we said, we are not going to make that mistake. We're going to build something incredible and be completely silent. Our challenge now is that we have a product that everyone loves and no one knows about. And so what we have to learn, 2015 for us, is learning how to sell at scale this product that people love at tiny scale.
Thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you very much.